All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining our Regional Microsite 101 training. I would say if you could mute your phones and computers for now, that would be great. I know that with a lot of people, we get a little bit of background noise, and I want to make sure you guys can all hear. But I'm going to kick it off by introducing myself. I know I've met a lot of you, at least through email, and chatted with some of you over the phone, but I am Laura. I'm using Jamie's WebEx, so it's a little confusing, but it is indeed Laura. And I am based out of a home office in Seattle, and I work on the web team, and my role is primarily helping regions with training and support on their microsite on tfa.org. And this little person behind me is my son, Alexander. And I'm going to jump into what we're going to cover today. So this training session is really going to focus on the basics of your microsite. So if you're new, you're in the right place. If it's been a while since you've logged in or made any updates, this will be a really helpful refresher. So this is going to be pretty basic. But we're going to start by talking a little bit about how your microsite fits into your digital strategy within your region. We'll talk about how your site is structured and how it might be a little different than other sites you've worked on, like Google Sites or WordPress. We'll talk about navigating in the CMS, so I'll flip and we'll do a live demo and show sort of what it looks like when you're logged in and how to kind of get started making updates. We'll walk through a couple examples of making basic updates. So these will be things that we get common requests for that you all will be able to do on your own after this call. And then we'll wrap up by talking about where you can go for help. And there'll be time for questions as well in here. But please feel free to use the chat in the meantime. So what role does your microsite play in your digital strategy? Well, I think the big takeaway is that your microsite is at the center of your region's presence in the online world. And so what that means is when someone searches Google for like Teach for America Baltimore or Teach for America San Antonio, your microsite is likely going to be the first search result in the list. And so it may be somebody's kind of first encounter with your region and what your region is all about and where they may be going to kind of get some, primary information. Your visitors are driven to your microsites through search engines. A lot of you are using email and social channels to drive people back to your microsites, especially those of you who are working on your blog. And in turn, folks who are reading that content have the opportunity to share it back with their own networks, creating a nice engagement loop. And so your microsite is kind of at the head and the center of your digital universe. I'm going to ask folks to mute if you are on the phone so you don't get any background noise. The other thing that's great about your microsite is that you're getting tons of organic traffic, particularly during recruitment season. So our recruitment team, they're out talking to prospective corps members, they're sending emails to prospective corps members, and in turn, those prospects are coming back to teachforamerica.org to learn more about our mission and the program, and then they're checking out regions and figuring out which regions are going to be the ones they're going to preference when they apply to the corps. And so, when you're thinking about your microsites and how you want to evolve them, I think there's kind of like three big areas that will sort of help address like people who are coming organically and people who may be, alums who may be visiting and haven't been to your site in a long time. I think using your microsite to tell local stories that can attract prospects and paint a picture of what their life will be like in the region can help them decide whether your region is a good fit. Similarly, like sharing stories or sharing information about the impact that your region is having, corps members and alumni are having in your region is another way to kind of engage with both prospects and alumni as well. And then thinking about your microsite as like a hub for ways that people can get involved. So whether that's like signing up to receive newsletters, joining an alumni fellowship, volunteering, volunteer opportunities, seeing, different ways that people can get involved in your region can be another way to kind of connect what's happening on the ground in your region with what's happening on your website and online. And so those are, that's just sort of like a quick summary of the role that your microsite can play in your digital strategy. And I'm curious if anyone wants to share, maybe through the chat, how they're thinking about the role that their microsite plays in the region. So how do you guys see your microsite kind of fitting into your bigger strategy? You can share in the chat. So Emma from Washington, sharing that they added a stories page to share stories about what's happening in their classrooms. As a rural region to Arkansas, you want to give smaller communities a voice to your microsite. That's great. I love that. And Boyce from Mississippi, using it as a centerpiece. Our alumni and donor newsletters link back to stories there. All right, see our site as a way to tell a regional story in a rural region. This is great. Oh, I love all these coming up. Sharing blog posts about core members and alumni. Incoming core members know what our regions really like. Talent Hub. I love it. You are all thinking a lot of really great things about how your microsite is gonna play into your regional strategy. I love it. This is wonderful. I think it's really great for other regions to kind of see how each other are thinking about their microsites. Well, with that, I think we are going to transition a little bit and get a little more technical. And I wanted to just talk about how your site is structured. So for those of you who have not logged in or spent much time on the site, I think this will be just some helpful framing for kind of how content is all organized on your site. So your site is built using a combination of building blocks, and there's kind of two big components. One is building blocks called panes, and you can think of these as just boxes of content or blocks of content. This might be a little different than other sites that you may have worked on, like WordPress or Google sites, where content is a little less structured. Your microsite is built using a framework that allows the same content to be displayed in multiple ways across multiple places. And so that means content from national can be pulled into your site, or vice versa. Content from your site can be pushed out to national. Or you can reuse content and display it in different ways. And so one of the things that's great about panes is it allows you to kind of pull in one piece of content and make it look like different ways. The other part of your microsite is content that lives in the CMS, or content management system. And this is content that can be pulled into different parts of your site using those panes I talked about. And some examples of content that lives in your CMS can be people profiles, like Tony, the ED from Washington, blog posts, events, and donors. And so as a CMS administrator, you have the ability to both add panes to your pages and then also create content that can be pulled into those panes. And I think this will make a lot more sense once we actually dive into the site. And so I'm going to flip over to our website, and we can kind of take a little walkthrough here. This may be a lot of info that we're going to cover, and so I just want to remind everybody, I'll share links at the end of this training, but everything I cover here is documented step by step in the training guide. So, you're welcome to follow along, or you're even welcome to log in and follow along, but don't feel like you have to retain all of this. It will be in the training guide as well. So this is just mostly to get you familiar. So let's start with signing in, logging into your site. There's two ways you can do this. You can navigate to the national site and log in, and then navigate to your region from here. Or what I like to do is just sort of start typing in the name of the microsite, and then you can just log in directly on your page. And so I'm in our test environment so that I can kind of demo a couple of things. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. And I know that we asked in the pre-work for folks to check and see if they could log in. And if you haven't heard from me yet, you will by end of day in terms of like next steps to get your account set up. So don't worry if you're not able to log in right now. We'll get your account straightened out within the next day or so that you can hop in. All right, I'm going to go ahead and sign in. Okay, so once you're signed into your microsite, you'll notice that you have a couple of toolbars that are going to appear. And there are kind of two workflows for making updates on your microsite. The first one is going to be through this Customize This Page button. And when I click that, you'll see all of the panes, or these big blocks of content on your site, are sort of, I like to say, unlocked. So you'll see here's your marquee, and there's some little buttons up here in the upper left. Here's your narrative section. Again, you'll see those buttons here. Teaching in San Diego, and then onward down the page. All the content on the page is contained in these little boxes. I would say probably most of the basic updates you make on your site, like basic text edits or uploading a photo, swapping out a photo, those are going to be done through that Customize This Page function, and we'll walk through that in a second. The other way that you can manage content on your site is going to be through this toolbar up here at the top. And this is more for content that is going to get pulled into those panes. And we'll talk about some of the specific examples in a little bit, but this would be for things like blog posts or events, things that live in your CMS, and then they're pulled into your site through panes. And so that is the other way that you can manage your content. And I'll just click on this link to show you what that looks like behind the scenes. What you'll see is a list of all of your content, so articles, pages, news releases primarily. Those are all listed here. And then this is also going to be the place where you can add new content through this Add Content button. And you're probably seeing more buttons than you'll see in your view, which actually may be like better since this can be a little overwhelming. But this is the other way that you can edit content on your site. So I'm going to navigate back to where we were by clicking this little tiny T here in the corner, and that's going to take me back to the home page. And let's walk through a few examples of editing content on your site. And so we're going to start by just making some super simple updates directly to the content on the page. And so for this first one, let's say that we want to update some of the, a little detail in this narrative. The San Diego region has some research data from a national assessment of educational progress from 2011. Let's say they want to update that date and change that to 2016. So we're going to click Customize This Page. And as I pointed out, you'll see there are little icons in the upper left corner of the pane. The one you're probably going to use the most often for editing is going to be this gear icon. And what that does is open up that individual pane for editing. And you'll see in the upper right, there's a little preview of what this content looks like. And as you scroll down, you'll see there are fields that are filled in for this section. So there's the title about San Diego, and then there's the text area. And so this is where you can go in and make your edit. It's super simple. So we'll go ahead and we'll say that this report is now from 2016. We'll make that super small change. You'll see here that there's a toolbar for basic formatting, and so you can use this for, doing some text formatting, for making things bold if you want to, make a sentence or two really stand out. There's links up here for embedding a hyperlink if you want to add a link to some text. These are, pretty similar to like a Word document. You can center or edit, center or align the text in different ways. And then this drop-down has different heading styles, so you can make text really big or, change the size if you want to kind of break up a paragraph. So that's making a basic text edit. We made our change, and we're going to scroll up to the top here where it says Save, and we're going to save that. And then you'll see our the year on that report has changed to 2016. Once you're done editing a specific section of the site, I highly recommend clicking the Save button in the bottom toolbar. This will lock in your changes so that you don't lose them. What happens sometimes is, you may be making edits, and then maybe you don't click Save and you click on another page on your site, like teaching here. Those edits actually end up getting lost. And so I am a fan of frequent saving. So we'll save that, and that will lock in those changes. And then you can always go back and click Customize this page and click the gear icon to make another edit. So that is one example. Most of the sections of your site can be edited that way. The Teaching Here section, any kind of new sections that you've added that are just text, those can be edited. I'll walk through another example on the Teaching Here page just to show you sort of what this looks like with a slightly different type of content block. And for this one, let's say, once it loads, that you want to edit something in your information about earning your teaching credential. So we'll do the same process. We'll click Customize this page and click the gear icon in the upper left. And this will open up this section to be edited. And so similarly to the last section, there's a little preview of the content. And as we scroll down, you'll see here is the actual content. And so this is what we call an accordion pane. And so each section of that accordion is listed out here. So there's your credentialing overview, what should core members do before arriving in the region. Each section has the title here on the left, and then the content is in this box on the right. And so same process, you would come here, you would make your change, and then come back up to the upper right and click Save. And then again, lock in your changes. And I see a question from All Right. How about picture changes and updating? You're right on top of it because we're going to talk about that next. Let me go back to the home page. And let's take a look at changing a picture, uploading and adding a picture. So for this example, let's swap out this icon in the Teaching in San Diego section. So same process, we're going to click Customize this page, and we're going to click the gear icon in the upper left corner of that pane. And you'll notice that there is a little toolbar that pops up here on the right. And this is where you can upload images. This bottom icon is for images. This middle icon is for adding an image gallery. And then this little arrow with a circle is for adding a link to a video, like a video that lives on YouTube or Vimeo. So we're going to upload a picture, and then we're going to swap that picture out for this pane. So I'm going to click on that picture icon. And it's going to open a little box where you can upload, add and upload files. And so I'm going to click Add Files, and I'm going to pick a picture from my desktop. I'm going to pick this first one. So select the file and start uploading. And you'll get a little status saying, yep, that's been uploaded. You got the green check mark. You can tag your photo if you want. This can be helpful if you end up having a lot of photos in your media library. I'm just going to say this is about alumni. And then we're going to click Continue. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to give your image an alternative text tag and a title. And this alternative text tag is important for two reasons. It helps people who may be visually impaired and may not be able to see the content on the site very well, who might be using a screen reader. That screen reader is actually going to read this alt text and describe what this picture is about to that person. And so this is a place to just briefly describe what's happening in the image. So we're going to say young female teacher working with 3 students. You don't have to be super verbose, but just describe what's happening in that picture. You also are going to add a title, and this will not only help you find this picture again when you are, if you want to come back to it in your library, but this will also help with search engine optimization. So if you describe what's happening, or if you give this image a title that might contain keywords somebody would use to find this content, that can just help boost the relevancy of this page. And so we'll just title this Teaching in San Diego. Oh, that right. Okay. You can include a caption if you want to display that. Attribution would be if you're crediting somebody for taking this photo, you can enter that there, and then we've got the tags. So we're going to finish that. So we've added our image, and now we're going to swap it in for this Teaching in San Diego section. I'm going to click the gear icon, and we're going to scroll down to where it says Flag Media. And you'll see there's that icon that is currently on the page. I'm going to click the Remove button to remove it, and then we're going to add our new image. And to do that, we're going to click the tab on this little media toolbar here, and that's going to open up all the images that currently live on your site, including the one that we just opened or just uploaded. And so all you have to do is hover over it, and then you'll see this little arrow icon for your cursor. You'll drag and drop that into this dotted box with a dotted line, and your image will pop right in there. You also have the option now to align that image with the text in different ways. And so if you scroll down here, you'll see there's a little display drop-down. And right now, it's set to display that image to the left of the text. But if you want, you can display it to the right of the text. You can display it on top or on the bottom. Those are sort of like the main options you would choose from. So we'll have that photo displaying to the right. And then we'll go back up to the top and we'll save. And if we did everything right, you should see that up here. All right. There's our new image. It's a little more exciting than the icon. And then again, you're going to want to save at the bottom to lock in those changes. So that's the basics of uploading images. You can upload multiple images in a batch if you're doing a whole bunch and want to do them all. That can kind of help you save some time. Any questions about that? You can use the chat if you want to chat those in. If not, we can move on to, if it's a bigger change like adding pictures where there aren't currently any, is it the same process or should we go to the request queue? Oh, good question. It is the same process. I'm really glad you asked that. We can actually take a look at that. Let's go to the Teaching Here section. And so you can add a picture to like an existing section. Say you wanted to spice up this Teaching Here narrative. You would click Customize this page, and the gear icon in the upper left, and then you could, we'll just add that same image. We'll scroll down here to where it says, drop a resource from Scald Media Library here. And we'll click the tab and drag that image into that field. And then similarly, we can align that image with the text in different ways. So let's pick Media Top, and that image should appear at the top of the page. We'll scroll back up to the top and save. And there is our picture. I will show how to add a new block to your site in a little bit. But first I want to talk about a couple other common updates, and then we'll come back to that. But that's a really good question. Okay. The next thing I want to show is another pretty common update, which is updating your executive director. And so that content lives on your About Us tab. And so this one is a good example of content that lives on our national site that is getting pulled into your regional site. And the reason for that, we centralize all people profiles on our national site because we only want one record for each person. That way, if they change their name or they leave Teach for America and work for a different organization, you only have to update that in one place, and that update will take place anywhere that person's profile is pulled in across both national and regional sites. So swapping out your ED is going to be a little bit of a different process. Let's say that we'll pretend that Lyda Jennings from the LA region is going to be the new ED for San Diego. And so to swap out your ED, you're actually going to go to the national site. And I have a tab already open, so I'm just going to click over there. And once you're logged into the national site, you'll see kind of similar toolbar at the top here. You probably won't see the one at the bottom, but that's okay. You're going to click on the content toolbar here at the top, and we are going to create a new person profile for Lyda Jennings. And so the first thing you're going to want to do is just search for her to make sure she's not already in the system. And so we'll do a search, and no content is available. So it does not look like she's in the system yet. So we're going to add her. We're going to click Add Content, and we're going to select the person content type. And your list will probably be a little neater and shorter than this one. So that makes it a little easier. Okay. And so here's how we create a new person. This form comes up, and we're going to fill in a few fields. We'll put in her name, her first and last name. You can also add things like generational abbreviations or credentials if they're like a doctor or PhD. And then we're going to add her bio. And let's see if I have this handy. A good practice is I like to kind of like organize things in a Word document and then copy and paste them over to the site. So we'll do that here. That can save some time. So we'll paste in her bio and just do a little bit of formatting to make that look nice. And then this teaser field will show up underneath her profile picture on your About Us page. So we'll add a little teaser, just a little one sentence about her. Okay, so there's her information, and now we're going to add her picture. And that's going to be the same process that we just looked at. We're going to click the image icon, and we're going to add a file from our computer. And there she is. I'm going to double click that. A good practice for creating people profiles is to crop your photo to be a square before you actually upload it, and that will make sure that it displays correctly. For this tag, I'm going to tag this San Diego, and then I'm going to start the upload and then click continue. And then again, this is where we're going to add our alt text and our title field. And so we can just kind of write a brief description.
Hi, repeat that. Aaron, please.
Oh, it sounds like someone.
That's all right. I was the same earlier. I'm sort of in and out of meetings all day. So, okay.
If everyone could mute their phone, that would be great. Thank you.
Got it.
Okay, and then we're going to add a title for her. That could just be her name.
Okay.
When
do you guys might be open it? Because I thought you guys were open in December.
And that sounds like you're getting some feedback.
Next issue.
Let me see if I can mute.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we uploaded Lida's photo, and we are going to drag that into this person profile box right here. And then we'll give her a job title. We'll say she is, actually that's going to be this field down here. This is more for a board member. If you want to note someone's board position, like there's a chair or co-chair, you can put that there. Okay, she is the executive director. Okay, and then you can add Teach for America too. That should come up. There we go. And then you can mark her as staff. If your ED was also an alum, you can check that box and then enter their core year. I'm going to make this up. I actually don't know what Lida's alum affiliation is, and then their core region. And then that will show up in their profile as well. And then we're going to save. And while that's saving, I saw there's a question in the chat. So Tiffany says, when we click on our ED's profile, the expanded version of the bio takes us to a national TSA site. It may be hard for the user to navigate back to the San Antonio site. Is there a workaround for that? That's a really good thing you noted. There is not currently. I think one thing that we've been considering is having that link open in a new tab so that you're not taken away from the regional site. So I think that's something that we need to add, because I agree that can be kind of confusing. And then Tiffany is wondering also, how can we add additional profiles we'd like to feature all of our regional staff on a page? I don't know if we'll have time to get to that, but that is in the training guide. But I can talk a little bit about how that would work. But let's finish updating our ED. So we've got Lida's profile created. So we're going to go back to the San Diego page, and we're going to swap in Lida's profile for David. So we're going to click Customize this page, and we're going to click the gear icon. And then this is an example, again, of a pane that's pulling in content from the national site. So if we scroll down here, oh, that's interesting. That is a bug. If you scroll down here, most likely what you'll see, I'm in a test environment, so things are funky. You'll likely just see the name of your ED and a little number after them. That's just like their content ID. So I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to enter Lida's name. And sometimes it takes a little while for new content to be indexed. So let's see if she'll come up. Do we see her? Not seeing her yet. Okay. If we gave this about another couple of minutes, you would see her coming up in the feed. Sometimes it takes a couple minutes for that to happen. In the meantime, we can just pick somebody else just to kind of show you how this would work. We'll pick Austin Jennings. And we'll go back to the top here, and we'll save, and we'll see what comes up. We might not have a picture. Oh, that person does not have a picture or a description, but the same workflow would apply for selecting your new ED that you just added. And Tiffany, in answer to your question, adding additional people would be the same workflow that we just looked at. So you would create all of those people on the national CMS, so each of them individually, and then you could come to your About Us section and click the gear icon in the upper left, and then you would just add another item to this list. And so let's see if Lida comes up now. Do you see her? I'm not seeing her. We'll pick another person with Jennings as their last name. So you could repeat this for multiple people. And then you can also choose how people are displayed. So right now these are set to display in a horizontal list, so all your people profiles will be next to each other. We can change this. Let's say you want to list it as a vertical list, so they're stacked on top. You can do that there too. And then these fields will enable you to show different parts of that person's profile, so their image, their job title, which we entered, that teaser field, and then the content link that takes you to the page where you can read more about them. You can also select core region or core year or employer, and then that will pull in those fields as well. So let's see what happens. I kind of picked some random people from the CMS. I'm not sure if they have all the information filled in, but let's see what happens when we save it. At least we should see all three of their names appear on your About Us page. Oh, Edith has a lovely picture. So most likely, once you've added all your people, they will all show up here and look a lot nicer than this. But that is one way you can add additional staff members to your About Us page. If you're looking to do something more extensive, like maybe rework the layout of the page, I would say that is something that you would send to the request queue. We can help you kind of like reorganize, redo the layout of the page so that you could have like just one big section with all your staff displayed like in a grid. But you can definitely add all those people on your own. So we'll save. Any questions about people profiles or adding people, changing people on your site? Okay. If questions come to mind, can we add bios as well? Yes, you can. So bios are going to appear when somebody clicks through. So if we open up Edith's profile, you'll see, let's see if she has a bio. Doesn't look like she does. If you enter a bio in the person's profile, it will appear here below like their basic information. But someone would have to click through to view that. And Alray, how soon can we get permission to do this? As soon as this training call ends, I'm going to go through and make sure that everybody has their permissions enabled. So you will likely hear from me by the end of today about any next steps you need to take to get your permissions set up. Good question. Okay. I want to take a look at two more things. I want to show you how to add a new section to your page. There's a lot that can go into this, so I'm just going to show one simple example. I think The Emma, you were asking about this, making a bigger change. I'm going to show you just how to add another kind of like text and image block to your page. The training guide I'll share will kind of go into more detail about kind of like different types of sections or blocks you can add, but I'll just walk through one to kind of show you what that would look like for one example. And for this one, let's say we're going to add a little section to the site about the alumni challenge that's going on right now. So I just click customize this page, and so you'll see all of your panes are available to be edited. And you'll also see these blue bars appear. And so they're not visible to your visitors, but they're here on the site when you open it up for editing. So to add a new section, you're going to click this plus sign in the right-hand corner. And you're going to see a little menu pops up. And so this is going to allow you to add content to that middle section. These are all the different kinds of panes that you can add. Probably the one you may use the most frequently is going to be the TFA creation pane. And these are just simply text and optional images. So I'm going to click on that tab, and you'll see there's some different options here. There's a grouped content pane. So that's if you want to add a section that has like a block that has tabs, either to the left of the content or like an accordion style, like the teaching certification info. That allows you to kind of add content that you want to group together in one kind of compact section. The one I think you'll probably use most often in addition to that one is just going to be this slides content block. And this is basically just text box and image or media. So I'm going to click add, and it's going to open up a form for us to fill in. And so we'll just call this $1 Million Alumni Challenge or Alumni Match, since that's already populating. And so you have some fields you can fill in here. That's going to be the title that appears at the top of the pane. There's also an intro section. You can fill that in, or if it's really just going to be text and image, you can leave it blank and come down here to the body. Here's where you can add your body content, and I'm going to go back to my Word document. I have some text here. I'm just going to copy and paste that in there. This kind of creates a subheader. So you've got your big title at the top, $1 Million Alumni Match. And so if you want, you can add a subheader. So maybe it's together, we can unlock $1 million. Add that there. And then for this one, so for those of you who are familiar with the Alumni Challenge campaign, we are sending people to a third-party site called Classy for fundraising and donating. And so I want to add a link to my Classy site here and have people be able to get there by opening a new tab. And so I'm going to come down here where it says CTA, and that stands for Call to Action. And this is a nice feature for creating a button that will really stand out for something that you want people to click on. And so I'm going to call the title of this Make a Gift. And the URL that's going to take people to the place where they can view this is going to be my Classy fundraising site. And I'm just going to copy that into the field there. And there's this awesome feature that says open the URL in a new window. And so as a good practice, like if you're linking somebody somewhere outside of your microsite, this is a good thing to do so that they don't get lost. I think Tiffany pointed that out with the people profiles. This will help people kind of maintain their navigation. So we've got our content in here, we've got our link, and for time's sake, I'm just going to reuse a photo we have here. We'll use this one. I'm going to drop that in. And let's make this, we'll align that photo to the top. So in our display options, we'll say Media Top. And then we're going to scroll to the top and save. Okay. And you'll see your new section has been added, and it gets added kind of right underneath where you launched the the menu to add the new section. And so what you can do if you don't want it to be in that place is you can grab these little arrows in the upper right corner and drag this. So let's say you want to put this further below, maybe under teaching in San Diego. So you can drop it in there, and then you can save. That will lock in your changes. And so you've got your image, your little description about the campaign, and then here's your call to action button. And when you click that, that will open a new tab. This is taking people away from your site where people can take action and donate to that campaign. So this can be like a nice kind of formula for anything where like you really want to call out that this is an important thing people should do on the site. So RSVPing or you know, downloading a report. I think San Diego has that. They have their annual report here, and this will open a new tab with that report. Oh, or not. That might be something we need to update. But that is a good content block that you can reuse for like a lot of different situations. So I'm going to pause there and see if there are any questions. Actually, I'll just open it up for any questions anybody has about their microsite and content. You can use the chat, or if you want to speak up, that's fine too.
Laura, it's Emma in Washington. How are you?
Hey, I'm good.
Good. So one thing we've loved the blogs and the stories, and we've been pretty, you know, been posting a lot. One thing that's not happening that I don't know how to fix is it's not posting on our homepage. Like they're showing up on the stories link, but they're not also linking on the homepage. And I wonder if that's like a request queue thing, or if that's something that we could troubleshoot. Or if there's like a very obvious easy thing that we're doing that's not, that we forgot to click.
We can take a look. We can maybe do some live troubleshooting. I think I know the answer. So some folks may recall there used to be a block on your homepage called Top Stories. And we have since kind of released a more enhanced version of that. Which I think is what you have on your stories page. And so we've removed, for reasons that have created their own like dedicated blog page, I think we've removed the little preview from your homepage.
Okay.
The way this works now is this pane, the smallest number of articles that can pull in is 20, so it's like kind of a lot for your homepage. I would say this might be more of a request queue thing, because there are ways we can work with you to like we can add a section to your homepage that maybe curates like 3 or 4 of like the, you know, articles that you really want to be front and center for people, and then you can like change what those are, you know, every couple of weeks or whatever frequency makes sense. But that might be like a good thing for the request queue, and we can like help you set that up.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Yeah, nothing you did. Like, yeah, you guys are like publishing great stuff on your blog. I think that was just more of us like updating some of these features.
Okay, cool, thanks.
What other questions do you guys have? I might volunteer some common questions that we get if they're not coming to mind. A lot of people often ask about uploading or linking to documents, and so you can definitely do that. I think you guys saw on San Diego's site, if I go back there, they had an annual report, and when you click this, it opens up a new tab. I think the link is actually not broken. This was pointing to a PDF in Box. So you can definitely link to documents on your microsite. We don't have a way to like store those in the CMS. So using a tool like Box or Google Docs can be a solution for that. You just want to make sure that the permissions on the link are set so that everyone can view. They don't have to be affiliated with Teach for America. And so documents can be uploaded to one of those places, and then you can grab the link and then go through that same workflow we just did where you add a new content block, maybe a little bit of copy to introduce your document, and then your call to action link will be the link to that document. And then you can enter your call to action, what that should be, like download the report or view more or whatever. So that's something you can do. Another question we often get is, can I add a stories tab to my site? And the answer is yes, like we would love you to do that. It's very exciting to see a lot of regions starting to blog and publish their own content. I would say that is a good item for the request queue. We can help you set that up and put it in the place in like your navigation where you want it to be. And then once it's set up, all you have to do is like publish great content, and it will automatically be filtered into that stories tab. We can also set it up so that it is pulling in any national stories about your region that are being published on Top Stories or One Day online. So it's kind of a nice feature because it supplements the content you're creating with content that our national teams are creating for the national site. So yeah, definitely like set that through the marketing request, and we can set that up pretty easily. And I will share this recording. Yes, this is going to be posted to the Training Hub, which I will share links with you guys right now. The only other thing I'll touch on is analytics. We often get a lot of questions about, you know, how many people are visiting my site, what are they doing when they get there, where are they coming from, and your RCMDs will be great partners with you on understanding your analytics on your site. So we do create monthly reports that will share where traffic is coming from, if it's like people coming from Facebook or email or just through like organic Google search. It will also show you page visits and page views, so what people are doing on your site and how many people are coming to your site. It will tell you about what devices people are using. So if they're using mobile devices or iPads or on their computer, you'll get to get a sense of like how that breaks down across all your traffic. And then I believe it will also show you where in the world people are coming from. So they're coming from out of state or in some cases other countries. You'll get a sense of like what that looks like too. So I just wanted to touch on that as well. I'm going to flip it back over to my presentation and just wrap up with some resources for you all on where to get help. So for general troubleshooting, if you're like trying to do something and you're getting stuck or it's like not working right, you can always reach out to me. Or if you have questions just about like what's possible or whether something should go through the queue, please feel free to reach out to me. I can help you troubleshoot account issues as well if you're having problems with your login. For content strategy, so kind of big picture, like, you know, this is the story we want to tell in our region and this is how we want it to come to life on our microsite. Your RCMD can be an awesome partner for you. They can also, as I mentioned, help you understand your analytics and kind of use that information to guide your strategy as you're going forward. Training resources, so the archive of this recording as well as step-by-step guides for what we covered today, for publishing to your blog, and for customizing your site are all available on the marketing portal. I'm going to share links to the marketing portal and the request queue in the chat right now, so you can bookmark those, keep them handy. So those are in the chat. So that's a good place to check, like once you're logged in and you're like ready to actually work on your microsite. Often it's just helpful to have like the step-by-step guide to refer to because there's kind of a lot of little details to keep track of. And then getting help with making updates, big or small, definitely the request queue is always available to you. If you find that like, you know, it's just you don't have time to create like 15 person profiles and upload all those images and put in all those alt tags, you know, to create your staff profile, we're happy to do that for you. You can submit that request to the queue. If you have like a big request, like I want to add a whole new section for alumni, or I want to like migrate some stuff off my Google site to my microsite, we love getting those as well. So big or small, you can always use the request queue, especially if it helps you save time and like focus on what's like really important in your region. I just want to also share a little bit about our planning process and how we take requests and kind of prioritize stuff. So we work on 2-week planning cycles. We call them sprints. And at the beginning of every sprint, we take a look at all the requests we've received, and then we go through them and we look at, you know, estimate how much time we think it's going to take and how that fits into like the overall capacity of the team and what other resources might be needed. And so this is just a little calendar to kind of show you kind of like how that breaks down. So if you submit a request today, most likely it will get pulled into the next sprint that starts on November 9th. If it's something super urgent, please like don't hesitate to flag it. Oftentimes we can pull it in. So don't think that this is like limiting, you know, or like a hard and fast date. But this is just our team's way of making sure like we can commit and do all the work that you know, that we commit to for a 2-week planning cycle. So just wanted to share that, and I'll share this deck after the call so you'll have those dates handy in case you want to refer back to them. And that wraps up our training session. Natalie, thank you for the reminder. Yes, please be sure to complete the pre-work steps so that we can set up your account. And I know I've got quite a few emails in my inbox from folks. Thank you for reaching out. I will respond to you by end of day and make sure that you are on track to be able to get into your microsite. So yes, please complete those steps. And then just reach out to me with any questions you have as you're getting started. I'm always happy to help or hop on the phone and troubleshoot because there is a little learning curve, but it gets easier as you go. So thanks, Sean. All right, I'm going to stop our recording. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.